better for you to sit on this side. You are going to use this throw. Use that applicable. So we can.
I will introduce the members when the team members of the project.
Right. Start coming.
A very good morning to everybody. It's a great honor for me to be standing before you. And you're very welcome to the dissemination workshop on the research that was conducted on embracing social entrepreneurship as a catalyst to sustainable business growth in Uganda. It's such a great day, and we will all appreciate this research as Professor will be able to present it. Before you, we do have a program that I would like to take you through for the benefit of those who don't have the printed program, especially those who are online. We already have people who have joined us online, and the program is supposed to begin at 9, and we are just 19 minutes late, but we'll ensure that we keep time. I will have an opening prayer so that we can bless this workshop in the hands of God. That will be led by Angel. And then we will have opening remarks by the principal of the College of Business and Management Science, Associate Professor Eria Hisali. And thereafter, we will go into the presentation of the research findings and policy recommendations by the research team led by Associate Professor Peter Tuliakira. And thereafter, we will have remarks from our chief guest, where we are blessed and honored to have the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Trade and Industry, Mrs. Geraldine Salibusurwa. Thereafter, we'll have, thank you very much. Thereafter, we'll have an opportunity for question and answers for all the participants to be able to appreciate and critique the social entrepreneurship notion as far as MSMEs are concerned in Uganda. And then we will be privileged to have remarks by the representative of the Grants Management Committee, Makerere University Research and Innovations Fund, that sponsored and funded this research. That will be done by Dr. John Mutenyo. And thereafter, we will have closing remarks by the Dean School of Business, Associate Professor Godfrey Akileng. And then we'll have lunch, which has been prepared by the team led by Associate Professor Peter, and then people will leave at leisure. By way of introduction, my names are Dr. Joyce Tamale. I was one of the researchers, and I am the CEO for Capital Solutions Limited that works with social entrepreneurs in Uganda. Before I introduce the key guests that we have in the room, Angel, please lead us in a word of prayer.
Hello everyone, my name is Angel, and would like us to come back for prayer. Loving Father, we want to thank you for today. We want to thank you for the gift of life and each one of us who is here. And as we start this meeting today to disseminate the report, kindly give us the grace, the wisdom, the mercy to go through this process and reveal to you the findings that we have worked so hard in fire. And may we be blessed in whatever that we do, in Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you very much, Angel. Please allow me to introduce the guests we have. For those of you who are online, we are very honored to have very influential people to receive this research report. Before us, we have the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Trade and Industries, Mrs. Geraldine Salibusurwa, as our chief guest. You can also clap wherever you are online. Then we also privileged and honored to have Mr. Michael Wamibu, the Commissioner, Minister of Trade and Industries. Most welcome, sir. And then we also honored to have Mr. Vincent Okema, the Senior Officer at the Ministry of Trade and Industries. Welcome, sir. And then we also have Professor Eria Hisali, the Principal of COBAMS. We also have Professor Akileng Godfrey, the Dean, School of Business. I'll keep introducing the guests. Everybody, you're most welcome, and please feel at home as we receive the research report. At this moment, I would like to invite Professor Eria Hisali to give us the opening remarks before we go into receiving the research report.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the MC, for this morning. Our chief guest, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Trade and Industry, and your team, my colleagues from Makerere University and the entire university fraternity, our friends from various agencies of government and the private sector, both here physically and those joining us online, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. I'm going to do a few things. One is to once again welcome all of you to this dissemination workshop. Thank you for taking off time to join us this morning. Our special welcome goes to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Madam, you are most welcome. And we look forward to many more of these engagements with you and your team. And indeed, all the colleagues. Allow me just say a few things. My first set of remarks will go to the study team. Dr. Triachira and your entire team, we want to congratulate you on this milestone. Congratulations. This morning, we are here to receive findings of what you have been doing over the past few months. And we have a number of people in the room, but we also have quite a number online. And we are going to follow what you'll be saying very keenly. But this is not all we expect. There are many more things that I think we need to do with this very important piece of work. Number one is let's move beyond this and move to the next stage and come up with a publication in an internationally accredited outlet. The reason we need this is because that will give an opportunity to a wider audience than what we have here in the room and online to access the findings of this very important study. Number two, again to the study team, is to now start integrating some of these findings into our curriculum. There are many courses we teach, and for quite some time, we have kept focused on using references from the Western world. We have grown now in terms of research. It is high time that we started integrating some of these interesting findings into our own curriculum. I will be extremely happy over the next year or two in the next round of curriculum review to see a reference being made to this very important piece of work. And then number three, we expect continued policy engagement. I think we'll need, depending on the feedback that we get, we should now come up with a final policy brief that then we can share formally with the policy advisors and the policy makers. So that is to you, the study team. To our sponsors of this very important project, the Research and Innovation Fund, and indeed the government of Uganda, we say thank you so much, and we look forward to your continued support. This is just a demonstration that when we get the resources, we are able to put them to good use and get these results. And then lastly, to our visitors, our partners who have joined us, I do hope that this is just the starting and it is not the end. It is just the start and it's not the end. We look forward to many more engagements like this. Madam PS, at the beginning of next year, we are launching a new initiative that we are calling the Policy Labs. Now, in the Policy Labs, what we'll be doing is to get the senior technocrats from government, the academia, some private sector players. We come in a room like this and sit for possibly a day or some hours and discuss a topical policy issue together. And at the end of this discussion is we should be able to come up with policy briefs, then that inform policy making and policy advice. So we count on your continued support, and we will be reaching out to you on those engagements. Ladies and gentlemen, I would not take a lot of time beyond this. Thank you once again, and congratulations once again to the study team. I wish you a very nice presentation this morning and engagement. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for those very, very powerful remarks and for the encouragement, and also the 4 points that you have highlighted for all of us to take forward as far as the research is concerned. At this moment, I would like to invite Associate Professor Peter Kiyakura to take us through the research findings, and then we shall be able to discuss thereafter.
Our chief guest this morning, the PS Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, with your team, the Principal College of Business and Management Sciences, with your team, our other invited guests, those listening on the line, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called Peter Kiyakura. I'm the principal investigator for this project, but I'm also head of department, marketing and management, and a professor of business management. I had a team of other 4 people, and I would like to take this opportunity to introduce them. One is Dr. Joyce Namiro Tamale, who has been our external partner from Capital Solutions. Joyce, stand up for your recognition. Other members, my co-PI is Mr. Sendaura Kasim, who is completing his PhD in entrepreneurship, and he is also my student. Others include Hanifa Nantale, who is there welcoming people, and then Marion Nanyans. As already indicated, this research was funded by the government of Uganda through Makerere University Research and Innovation Fund. And therefore, I take this opportunity to thank the government, the Republic of Uganda, and the management of Makerere University for this support. We are greatly honored this morning, and we cannot take your presence for granted, and therefore we are exceedingly humbled by your coming. I will first take you through a brief background to the study. Then I take you through the study objectives, the methodology, results and discussions, policy recommendations, and end up with the conclusions. Ladies and gentlemen, you might be aware that the increasing rate of social and environmental concerns has motivated micro, small, and medium enterprises to develop strategies for sustainable growth. And when I talk about micro, small, and medium enterprises, I mean those businesses that employ people ranging from 1 to 100, and with also a maximum of sales revenue of 660 million Uganda shillings. Sustainable growth presents the ability of MSMEs to realize social justice and environmental conservation while maximizing profits. This enables MSMEs to create jobs, innovations, generate income, and government revenue. However, it must be noted that 64% of these MSMEs close down before completing a year in operation. In other words, 64% of these businesses cannot celebrate their first anniversary. It is also important to note that even those that survive are characterized by low profitability, high cost of doing business, limited market, and undertake unsustainable practices. This study, therefore, suggests social entrepreneurship as a feasible strategy to accelerate sustainable growth of MSMEs in Uganda. Of course, social entrepreneurship is a new concept, not only in Africa, but in many other developing countries, and it is doing business for good and transformation of society, unlike other commercial entities that concentrate on profit maximization. Social enterprises engage in community activities, they develop innovative solutions, they use local resources, as well as empower communities. Therefore, by offering innovative solutions to multiple environmental and social problems, these MSMEs can be rewarded with profitability, new knowledge and talents, breadth of social capital, and the attraction of new financial resources. Recent studies on sustainable growth have focused on eco-innovations, operations decision-making, ICT, knowledge strategy, and entrepreneurial skills. However, it must be noted that less attention has been given to social entrepreneurship and nascent entrepreneurs, more so in Africa and Uganda in particular. This justified the need for this study in order to examine social entrepreneurship as a strategy that could promote sustainable growth of MSMEs in Uganda. The study had 5 objectives. One was to assess the level of appreciation of the concept of social entrepreneurship amongst young entrepreneurs in Uganda. These young entrepreneurs are the ones we call nascent entrepreneurs, those that are engaged in creating new business ventures. 2, analyze factors that promote the creation of sustainable social enterprises. 3, to investigate factors that constrain sustainable MSMEs growth in Uganda. And 4, to examine the role of gender in a social business setting. And finally, to examine the effect of social entrepreneurship on sustainable business growth in Uganda. So therefore, to achieve these objectives, a cross-sectional study was conducted involving mixed methods approach that integrate both quantitative and qualitative approaches. The study population included 1,200 undergraduate students who participated in a annual entrepreneurship expo in 2019, as well as social enterprises and capital solutions. In terms of sample size, 291 students, we had 291 students, 80 social entrepreneurs, and 3 entrepreneurship facilitators from Makerere University, especially in this college, 3 heads of incubation centers at Makerere University, as well as social entrepreneurs who are sampled in both phases of the study. We used simple random sampling to select the university students. In terms of sampling strategy, we utilized the simple random sampling to select the university students and the social entrepreneurs. On the other hand, purposive sampling supported the selection of key informants who had relevant information for this particular study. The unit of analysis were mainly MSMEs, while the unit of inquiry included students, social entrepreneurs, and key informants who have already been mentioned. Data was collected using self-administered questionnaire, that is from students and social entrepreneurs, and then the interview guide was used to collect information from key informants, as already mentioned. Quantitative data was analyzed using SPSS 24 version, and thematic content analysis was used to analyze qualitative data, and we used Atlas T version 8. So what are our study findings? This is the area that now all of you are interested in knowing. Of course, our study findings were based on the research objectives. And one of the objectives, as earlier mentioned, was to look at the perceptions of social entrepreneurship amongst nascent entrepreneurs to know whether they understand this concept being ignored. And our findings indicated that these nascent entrepreneurs understand social entrepreneurship as the different ways of solving social problems. Again, they also understand social entrepreneurship as a business that positively impacts community welfare. Again, we also understand social entrepreneurship as community-based challenges. And then, we also understand social entrepreneurship as innovative solutions to social problems and many other points, as you can see for yourselves. We also conducted focus group discussions, and from the focus group discussions, it is indicated that social entrepreneurship pays attention to the problems facing society, and these problems face young people to start businesses with the intention to address such problems. This is in agreement with various previous studies who indicated that social entrepreneurship aims at driving societal transformation, also act and to address particular cases of social issues and problems in our society. In the same vein, Yunus 2018, who is the renowned scholar in social entrepreneurship, understands social entrepreneurship as a non-dividend approach that addresses and solves social problems. Our objective number 2 was to find out the factors that promote the creation of sustainable social enterprises. And our findings indicated that the external factors mainly promote the creation of sustainable social enterprises. In terms of this ranking, our findings indicated that individuals' intention to create non-profit organizations, individuals' interest in community entrepreneurship, individuals intending to become social change agents, individuals seeking new opportunities and innovations, individuals intending to become institutional entrepreneurs are encouraged to start sustainable social enterprises. These external factors were followed by personal factors such as enthusiasm, willingness, and human character. And then the internal factor, particularly risk-taking, came last. Again, through focus group discussions, it was discovered that also social entrepreneurship is looked at as a means to find new ways of handling community challenges, such as unemployment, lack of skills, and knowledge. And again, this is in agreement with previous studies by various scholars who also mentioned personal interests, skills, attitude, knowledge, and commitment that facilitate the achievement of social mission among social entrepreneurs. Additionally, the previous studies also have revealed that social network experience and support promote social entrepreneurship among the youth. The other objective was to find out the factors that constrain sustainable business growth. Factors that constrain sustainable business growth, particularly here in Uganda. The factors are many. In terms of ranking, the first factor that indeed constrains sustainable business growth is high cost of operating the business. And these high costs include the utilities, the labor, and many others. This was followed by lack of financial assistance, limited access to relevant business information like the market, limited entrepreneurial skills, knowledge, and experience, low levels of technology usage, lack of government support, and others, as you can see in terms of that ranking. In addition, from focus group discussions, it was also revealed that lack of supportive government policy environmental framework, lack of funding, poor infrastructure, and failure to meet clients' operations also constrain MSMEs growth in Uganda. Our findings are also in line with the previous scholars who also revealed that lack of funding, limited market, lack of proper business strategy, and lack of government also constrain business growth, sustainable business growth in Uganda. Then we are also interested in knowing whether gender plays a role as far as social business setting is concerned. And our findings indicate that unlike men, women are more likely to get involved in voluntary activities. Women are more likely to get in voluntary activities. And therefore, in terms of gender, as far as starting a social enterprises, to them, social enterprises facilitate the economic empowerment of women. Social enterprises provide women with flexible working hours. Women generally are involved in informal social entrepreneurship at community level compared to men. Women in social enterprises are more likely to get involved in voluntary activities, as already indicated, than men. And male social entrepreneurs are likely to earn less than their female counterparts. Again, these findings were also in agreement with those from focus group discussions, in that men and women differ in the nature of social enterprises that they initiate. And as such, women focus more on social services, while men focus more on profits. This is supported by also some previous researchers who indicated that female entrepreneurs are likely to practice social entrepreneurship in societies with low power distance. Similarly, other researchers, including Ducker and Credit 2020, indicated that women tend to start social rather than commercial enterprises. Finally, we wanted to know whether social entrepreneurship has any effect on sustainable business growth. And to achieve this, we had to utilize multiple regression analysis. And the findings are as follows. From this analysis, it was indicated that social entrepreneurship significantly affects sustainable business growth. In other words, a unit improvement in the social entrepreneurship translates into a 0.43 variance in sustainable business growth. And overall, social entrepreneurship predicts or contributes 31% towards sustainable business growth. Again, these findings are also in line with the previous researchers or scholars who indicated that enterprises that follow sustainable environmental practices are likely to achieve more advantages and remain competitive for longer periods. Again, other scholars also revealed that the social mission of an enterprise helps in achieving social and economic development. On the basis of the aforementioned findings, the following recommendations are made, and this is where I attract much of your attention, especially the officials from ministries who are policymakers. And I'm glad that we are blessed with the presence of the PS where this research falls generally. It is recommended that the government of Uganda should build a financial spectrum. And this will enable social entrepreneurs to access grants for incubation. There should also be preferential funding social enterprises, as well as tax exemptions and incentives. And the Minister of Finance planning and economic development can take a lead in this direction. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives should improve capacity building for social entrepreneurs. Capacity building for social entrepreneurs. This will enable them to find, attract and communicate with the funders, attract talents, and access relevant business information. Furthermore, the ministry is also encouraged to evaluate, recognize, and reward outstanding social entrepreneurs annually, because given the role it plays, those outstanding performers in social entrepreneurship should be annually rewarded. To the Ministry of Education, we recommend that the ministry should promote a culture of social entrepreneurship by inserting social entrepreneurship in the curriculum at all levels, right away from primary, so that our children from primary level should be able to appreciate the role that social entrepreneurship plays in as far as social economic development of our nation is concerned. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the government of Uganda should improve the legal environment by creating a social entrepreneurship policy that will guide and inform the operations of the social enterprises in Uganda. Because as we talk today, there is no policy that guides the operations of social enterprises in Uganda. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, the concept of social entrepreneurship is on the rise globally. Tackling complex social and environmental challenges requires businesses to go beyond their economic goals and have a social mission. The well-being of people, society, and our planet needs to be part of everyday business practices. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you.
Another round of applause to Professor Triakira. Thank you very much for the presentation, our principal investigator, on this very, very critical subject that most of us interfaced, especially during the COVID experience. We all took note that most of the SMEs that were following profits literally closed. The stress levels were beyond their control and they closed shop. Apparently, on the flip side, 80% of social enterprises, those MSMEs that were running social enterprise model, did not close. And the reason why they did not close is some of the reasons Professor has talked about. Madam Pierce and the team from the Ministry of Trade, this notion may not have penetrated Uganda, but apparently some of us and the practitioners in this room and online, we have actually been running social enterprise model, and we can attest to this advantage during the COVID pandemic. Therefore, there's 5 recommendations this research has actually given us. We need to pay attention to them. We need to make sure that we push as a way of helping the young people and the women in this country get employment. We all know that the environment where they live, we all live in an environment with a lot of challenges. And we must only do that by helping ourselves start small businesses that are solving societal problems in an innovative way. Again, I would like to thank you, Professor Triakira, for leading us as the team on the research. We thank the government of Uganda and the Makerere University Innovation Fund for supporting this very noble cause, and also to all the participants that participated in this research to contribute to this journey that we've started today. And at this juncture, allow me to invite the PS to give us remarks And then we will be able to discuss this content right after the remarks. You're most welcome, Madam Geraldine. Thank you very much.
Kindly allow me to remove my mask. I'm sure I'm safely away from everybody. I may not infect the person right next to me. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me. Professor Triak here. Sorry if I didn't get your name correctly. I'm not very good at these names, yes. And Dr. Tamale. And the professor who just left us to go for a meeting, a board meeting, and all the research team and all the members here today, together with my team that have come with. Thank you so much for coming. I am so glad that I came here. And one of the reasons that I actually made this a priority, usually a PS's office is very demanding. I didn't know when I got into this office. I thought I was just going to go and sort of do policy work and speak a lot of English. But upon getting there, I realized that it has more responsibility than I thought. So I just prioritize. Right now, I have like 4 other things. And by the time Dr. Tamale invited me, I was doing board training in Dubai. Unfortunately, I didn't respond because we were in the middle of training, corporate governance and digitalizing banking sector and all those things. But most importantly, and I'll tell you why I came, I have some regrets in my life, but they're not so much. I flipped them and I'll tell you why. I am an alumni of Makerere University. I actually started, I think I started in 1994, so I'm old. And then I think I finished in 1990, the years were always overlapping, 94, 95. Then we finished 98, 99. Graduation was in 1999. And then, you see, our education system, I didn't realize at that time, but I just followed what my parents told me, go to school. So just not to annoy anybody, I faithfully went to school from nursery school all the way up to Makerere University. And sometimes I didn't even know why I was going, but I just knew not to get in trouble. So by the time I left Makerere University, I thought it was automatic because I thought life was just sailing. You finish primary school, you go into secondary school, you go to Makerere University or any other tertiary institutions, then you get a job. So our system had designed us to be job seekers. It's only when I realized and I was much older and wiser, I should have started business entrepreneurship at P6. Even in my vacation, at least the one thing I don't regret is that I have an auntie of mine, my dad's brother, who put me in her little shop in Kasubi. She had a shop, a corner shop in Kasubi market where it is. And I used to sell sugar, oil, cooking oil, all the sweets, what. Then she would give me pocket money. Then I would invest it in a bank. I opened a bank account. But I could have done better. When I look at my years, I could have done better. And what this research has done into social entrepreneurship is to provide the knowledge we should have got in the first place to produce entrepreneurs, not job seekers. So this is going to be very useful to us because we are informed by policy research whenever we are doing policies, but we are not very strong on research. The research arm of the ministry is not very strong. I think most of the time it's underfunded, and most of the time our sources of information are evolving, so they need to be brought up to speed very quickly. And we sort of have to build capacity on coordination of government entities. I think you also feel that. So the other thing that you have actually done is to encourage these young people. So, and I'm so glad that we are all Ugandans here. So the British system came in and then told us that merit, when you get A and first class and everything, is what will mirror your success in life. Yet, their biggest people on the Forbes rich list and the biggest entrepreneurs in the world didn't even have degrees. I am not against degrees. You can have all these university degrees, but they do not mirror the success of life. So we need to be wider. We need to be more than the books that our colonizers left us. The books that tell us they were the first people to explore Lake Victoria, that we need to learn the prairies, that we need to learn, all the things that we have learned. I went to my calculus class, and then I did calculus 1 to 13. I have looked for where to apply it up to now. I have not found it. I did calculus 1 to 13. It was a mental torture. But I have looked for where to apply it. I have failed. Okay, so that is enough of that. And that is one of the reasons that I came. So this, what you're doing here, I want to give you the model of what you're doing, what you're providing information. When you see India, India is one of the biggest global economies. I think you all know that because you're a research unit, so I don't need to belabor that. But let me tell you why India has become very big. 90% of India's gross domestic product is actually contributed by 54% of SMEs. 54% of SMEs, the small, the medium, and micro, are the ones contributing 90% of India's GDP. And India is a very big economy. So for us, if you see now Uganda within the East African region, when they tell me that our SMEs, like 54%, like 31% of our SMEs don't make it to their first birthday, 64. That is very sad. But the good thing is that we know what our problems are and our challenges. And we know where we must fall as government. You see, last year I used to be on the other side. I said, to our government yet we are, now I'm on this side where I'm saying that, government, we need to do more. And I recognize that because even the Indian model, what they did the 5 things, and I was so happy when I saw them. Capacity building, the training, the financial literacy of our people. It would be very helpful if alongside all that calculus, they taught me business, how to do bookkeeping. Because as soon as I left and failed to get a job, by the way, I failed to get a job everywhere I applied. So I decided to leave the country. And upon returning, that's when I went to NSSF. But when I went abroad, I didn't know how to do bookkeeping. And then I was learning. And because my brother was working in some company, he fixed me. You know how Africans fix people. People just turn up. Relatives, friends, in-laws. You just bring. So my brother fixed me into this company in London Bridge. And then there was a very young girl who had just finished college. She knew bookkeeping like nothing. And I was thinking, what is she doing? So here I am with a university degree, getting so embarrassed I didn't know bookkeeping. So I learned from a very junior officer how to do bookkeeping. And then I started working. The good thing is that I was the first learner, and it was very hard to know and figure me out. But I learned on the job. So let us design our courses and curriculum. Much as we are doing the research, let our courses reflect the things that Uganda we want to see tomorrow. The Uganda full of entrepreneurs. South Africa has totally redesigned their curriculum. And I'm hoping and praying that Uganda will do the same, because that's when we shall actually create the foundations of entrepreneurship and business in Uganda. And that is where the real money is. And by the way, just for your comfort, the route that you're taking and the fact that you've done this research, even the richest people in Uganda are actually down there downtown. They are businessmen, not the corporate world who come here and they speak a lot of English. No, the people who actually run this country. If Chikubo closed for just 1 week, there would be no URA. I am telling you that, and I know it. Why? URA, we are stakeholders. That man there sits on that board. I sent him there to sit on that board, right? Anyway, so for me, we are in the right place and we are thinking correctly. So while Uganda has various enterprises and corporations, micro, small, and medium enterprises, constituting over 90% of the private sector, these employ about 2.5 million people and are found in all sectors of economy dealing in goods and services. Last month, I actually went to a launch where service providers and the events management formed as an association to become very powerful in their negotiations, to become more organized, to become more professional, to build capacity, to train themselves. So all these things that you are talking about, the 5 things that needed to be done, they have come together to actually do that. Build capacity, digitalize and get innovations, and also access financial services. Everything that you are talking about is what they are doing. So what is happening is that now they command exemptions from government because their voice is now louder when they are many. And people are actually thinking correctly, and I'm glad that we are on the right path for that. So the small enterprises are those which are between 5 and 9 people, which I think such micros fall under. They are now making more money over time. They're making over 10 million, between 10 million and 100 million. You'll find someone just gets a contract and then they begin to provide services even beyond our borders of Uganda. I was surprised one of them actually they get contracts in the UK, they get contracts in Sudan, they get contracts in, the thinking, we have to open our minds and let us fly by taking the opportunities that come our way, and let us not cocoon ourselves into employment only. As you know, there are no jobs. So there are no jobs. So we are thinking in the right place where we are pushing people into entrepreneurship. So I also started my own businesses anyway. And I was so glad that I did. And they're moving. And they're actually earning more money than my employment. But I use my employment to get capital to put into my businesses. So I'm not saying don't get jobs. You can get jobs to get capital. It's patient capital is what I call it. It's when it is organic, you have not stolen anybody's money, and then you put in your businesses and move. But you must be very determined to fail, but rise out of the failing. So that change is going to start with us. When people see business leaders moving, for me, I had already said to myself, nobody can actually talk to me if they're not successful in business, because that person would not have gone through the downs and ups of business life. So how are they going to tell you? By theory? By sitting in their SC office somewhere in some, I don't know, because I mean, all that theory is very good, but the person who is actually going to take you that tides is someone who has been there, fallen and risen, tried out so many other businesses. The experiences that life gives you are never learned in class. So for me, if they tell me that Makerere University is actually doing 70% of practical work and learning, I would clap for that. So these researchers should be an end to something, Dr. Tamale. And I would really like, and by the way, when I went to NSSF, we were there talking about digitalizing and providing better services. And all the services that you see, And the service providers knew they have us. If we go through procurement, PPDA, they are going to charge us $20 to $30 million. And I said to myself, there is simply no way. I know for sure that these things are very easy to do. You get an aggregator. I had some information. And guess where we went to run for help? It was Makerere University. We got the boys. We have the contacts of the boys. They helped us from the technology institute. Those people, everything you see NSSF is done on digitalization was local content. It was people born and bred Ugandans, clever but supported, and they are guided. We partner with them, and they know. So we have to believe in ourselves. Ugandans are very clever people. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to support ourselves. If you go to other countries, the jobs will never go to foreigners. They'll go contracts. You cannot get a contract 100% foreigner. You will have to get people from your own area. And unless we have that spirit, we shall never move. So the people who are actually, and by the way, those people are doing so many other softwares. So I've given them like 5, and all these fintechs. So there's a program which I told I'm sitting on some church fund, because we are trying to build a church where I live there in Luboa. But I told Centenary Bank that, you know what, this rudimentary way of collecting money, with all this COVID that comes on the money and all, why don't we get some people from Makerere University to design for us some technology? So I took my time, I wrote the concept. It was about 12 pages. And I said to them, you know, if we do the projects and we put the software, so the church collections now can be digitalized, right? So if everything we are paying is, because now this is 2021. So if I'm going to contribute to the church, now supposing the church money goes to the custodian money. For me, if I'm contributing to the, specifically, Nyumba Yaba Father, I want to say that is project F, Nyumba Yaba Father, and I put my money there. So it goes directly from the, so you have the parish, you have the church, you have, yeah? And these people figured it out for us, and they're actually designing a software, and it's going to sit on the bank's platform, and it is going to be spread across the churches, the Catholic churches of Uganda. So money, tithes, projects for every sub-parish church and everything is now going to be digitalized, and it's all being done by people of Makerere University. You ask them anything, they will do it. They will do it. I didn't want to come here to start reading speeches to you. I speak from my heart because I believe the things I speak. I believe we can do it. So when we are talking about this research, if you people can provide us with back-end research, and we are partnering with you, and we do the policy researches on all the different industries, for example, because we are Ministry of Trade, Industry, Land. So if you people actually can provide us with, and you know what, let me tell you the other evil that I'm fighting. When you go to World Bank, IMF, and all those big guys, they want to bring their technical people because they're telling you they're the ones who know more about your industry and economy than you. So they tell you, we are going to give you money, but we're going to give you technical support, but we are the ones you pay our people to research for you. Can you believe it? Someone comes to my country to research for me. So they give you a grant, then bring it back and pay their own person to research for you your economy. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you imagine such an insult?
Yeah.
Now, and by the way, may I speak openly because it is what it is. So if you people can actually provide us with this research, and then you pay that person, that consultant, 100,000 USD. Yet, if I partner with this whole unit, can actually take that 100 research and even have everybody on that team, and they do a good job for us. So I'm asking that let us partner. You can be our backend on research. We classify our work into different industries and different areas of trade. Last week we were in Geneva. We were trying to see how we can get Uganda deals before the virus came in, Omicron, and then they disbanded the whole thing. But we had a lot of unfair preliminaries. Then I realized we must do more research for ourselves. and come better informed. And the research should not only be conformed to Uganda, conform to Uganda. It should be global because we are now going to be global. So if people can actually help us, so we can have an arrangement with Makerere University, specifically COBAMS, where you can actually provide us with research and then we inform. So this is a partnership. This is your country too.
Yeah.
This is your country too. So it's not just we are sitting, it's them and us. We are a ministry, they are them, we tell them and then they know. This is also your country. You have to participate in the Uganda you want to see tomorrow. We are changing our lives. We are becoming more in charge of our lives. We are getting financial independence. We are making ourselves independent. They gave us political independence, by the way. I think you know that. Independence. No, they just gave you political independence. But they left you financially dependent. So we are the ones nobody's going to give us that financial independence. We have to create it ourselves. And it starts now. Actually, it starts like 10 years, 20, 50 years ago. We are late. So I like the fact that you people, you're on the right track. You know what it takes. And when we call upon you, principal investigator, please. Because you cannot have a very big ministry to have, the big research unit and stuff like that. You know, our money becomes very little. But I know that we can survive on that little money. We do our research, we have more informed positions, and we take positions on the things we want to do. And we digitalize, we do the technology, we do everything. So at the moment, I'll just tell you the programs we are doing at the moment. So it's not like we are not doing anything, but it might not have the impact you want to see, the volume that you want to see. So, so there's access to credit and financial services. So there's this thing of circles. Circles are also under our ministry. So government supports the formation of cooperatives, circles, to facilitate access to financial products. I don't know how much you feel that or what impact it has. I don't know. I'm not going to come here and lie to you that I know the impact. Maybe you can find out from me. As research. You see, this openness and everything should really tell the story. So other forms of cooperatives will aid, and by the way, cooperatives in South Africa are very big. They run that country. But why they are big? Because they were white-led. They were white African-led. But if they were Black African-led, they'll probably be nowhere. Why? Because, a number of things that you all know. So the cooperatives aid buying in bulk, purchasing, which reduces that cost of doing business that you talked about. So when people are together in numbers, those small SMEs, once they come together in numbers, they actually reduce their costs sometimes. Yes. And even in the land tenure systems that we have, one person may not hire a bulldozer to clear pieces of land which are disintegrated among several holders. But if a community hires a bulldozer together and clear their land, it's actually cheaper. So there's a clever way of going around these things. So we must actually foster them for our people to know that they can actually access such services. And these may create business opportunities, by the way. So, excuse me. So to enable members leverage on the power of numbers and enable access and guarantees to some of these groups. So government has also introduced the following programs to facilitate SME access, affordable credit and appropriate technologies, yeah? So rural industrialization program to increase and spur industrialization and value addition to locally produced materials, a NYOGA funds, and the implementation of the parish development model. So you know that model is actually disseminating funds. Actually, we were having a very big discussion in the Prime Minister's office 2 weeks ago. And we were saying to them that we would like to effectively disseminate these funds because most of the time we have the political announcements of these funds. Then you don't see the political reflection of those funds on the ground. They almost never reach. So we have to find effective channels of disseminating these funds to the last person. I met a guy one time in Wandegea who was actually selling pancakes. These pancakes were very good. By the way, they were world class. But what about making that person a professional in the way they do pancakes? It's our food. By the way, we must be proud of our food, even in Senene. Yes, that guy should have been supported to package his Senene in nice small tins, get the standards, because it's our food. Guess what? Those people also eat shrimp, snails, snakes. Why don't we also say, why are you eating those snakes? But for us, we clap for them, because for them, they packed their snakes in tins, they packed their shrimp and all those foods, seafoods you don't eat. For them, they eat them and it's okay. So they've stigmatized our food. We also participate in stigmatizing our own food. Yet we can actually repackage it and create business. We know that Nsenene is good food. You give me a bowl here, I'll clear it for you. But why are you not serving it on my plane? It's my plane, it's my Bombardier, I bought with my money. I'm selling my food. And we go and tell him, okay, yes, we might just have encouraged him, say to him, we are going to send you to Uganda National Bureau of Standards to get the standards of your food, you package them, and then we can give you a contract and you start supplying Uganda Airlines. That's what we should have done. And can I just be quoted for that? Because we do not penalize people that way. We encourage them. We see the business idea in it. Let's bring hope to our people who are trying to come up. Let us make them recognize that they could do more for themselves. Because once you beat one, another third, 9 will not come up with business ideas. You're killing and suffocating industry. I wish I was a headmistress. So COVID-19 relief funds are yet to be dispersed through participating financial institutions. So we are going to, in the interim, we're going to be using financial institutions that owned by government, as Housing Finance Bank, Post Bank, and Microfinance Support Center to disseminate funds. And we are hoping that they get to the last person. So some of these people need very little capital, like 1 million to start their business. And it makes a very huge difference in people's lives. And then there are other interventions through other government-supported institutions, which I've talked about. I also want to talk about the creation of an enabling legal and regulatory framework. Now, most of these legal frameworks, we have them. And we even have those that go beyond our borders. So we have Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, Bubu, and National Trade Services Policy, National Standards and Quality Policy, National Competition Policy, National Cooperatives Policy, National Export Development Strategy, the National Leather and Leather Products Policy, National Accreditation Policy. Now, these ones are actually meant to help promote SMEs, but I'm not so sure whether people even know about them. So we have a lot to do in terms of promoting the policies that guide some of these SMEs, and the duty to actually translate them into languages they understand, because most of these people didn't get the opportunity like you and I to be in the confines of such a prestigious learning institution. Most of these people didn't make it. And I was very surprised, actually, our attitude and mentality. We need to unlock a few things, Dr. Tamali. There's a lady, she's a lawyer, and a very well-established lawyer, but she has a food business. So she opened her food business and she ended up making more money out of her food business. Now, her friends were now telling her they're in the banking sector. And each of them is probably earning about 3 million gross, but they dress well, look well, they look the part. But for her, in her business, she was earning more than 15 million per month alone. So there's no way she could kill her business. Now, the attitude and mentality was, how can you be a lawyer and cook food? This stigmatization of our own products and services and everything that makes us Ugandan, the Ugandanness of us, that stigmatization must stop. We must be proud of ourselves. And by the way, it's called self-hate. Self-hate. You people sitting in this room, young people online, whoever is there, please let us start loving Uganda. And it's only when we love Uganda and reflect that in ourselves is when people will actually love us and buy from us. So if we intend to go beyond our borders and use things like there's a lot of speak in my ministry. We have non-tariff barriers. We have things like East African Trade Area, COMESA area. Now we have the latest, which is going to open up all the African markets and African countries. And that is called the African Free Trade Area. People never hear about these things. For example, someone from Angola doesn't know that they can actually sell milk in Egypt, and they open their business line. People here in Uganda don't know that our honey can be sold in Dubai. Those people are hungry for honey. They eat it, they drink it, they sleep in it. But we don't know. All those are businesses people don't know about. We don't know the exemptions people get. We don't know the taxes people get. While you're doing your research, please, let's also go into that, teaching people on our behalf to sensitize them about the opportunities they can take beyond our borders. So, ladies and gentlemen, government is continuing to negotiate for markets in the regional and international level. The following agreements have been concluded and signed in East Africa Customs Union. So we have the common markets of East and Central Africa and Africa Continental Free Trade Area. You people, did you know that this week Tanzania opened up its sugar markets to Uganda? I don't even know whether any of you knows what it means, but if you knew, you'd not even be sitting here. In fact, I'm even thinking, you know what, I need to do business now. The amount of money we are going to make, because our sugar is pure and good. You know, God gave us, you know, we have natural endowment. Our soil is so fertile and our sugar cane is very good. So the Tanzanians have been fighting not to have our sugar, but now they have opened up because they themselves have taken their own government to court and they have won. So they've opened the borders for Ugandan sugar. So Ugandans are going to start taking sugar to Tanzania. And that's a lot of money. But here we are sitting in this room, people don't have that information. You see what I mean? Professor. PhD 7, gain of college business. On top of that PhD, I want to see you, flying high, higher than you could ever dream of. Then people will believe what you're actually saying. It's hard for people to believe when there's no corresponding actions. You know that? Yeah. Yes. So we'll require capacity building in the various MSMEs to address the supply constraints, which we talked about, and which I call upon the various partners to join hands, and we achieve that. Let me take this opportunity to further send my appreciation to the funders of this research being disseminated today, and hope that it will go a long way in guiding the partners to impact on sustainability of enterprises for business growth. This is to further request the academia to step up efforts that will contribute to the building of knowledge on these various interventions through research. As I conclude, I reiterate government's commitment to engage stakeholders and private sector in focusing on the local community participation in embracing social entrepreneurship as a catalyst for sustainable business growth. And solving these challenges that could hinder economic growth. So gender and equity for inclusion of everyone is an issue. We all know that, but I think we have to start somewhere. I'm very happy you have ladies on your team, sir. That recognition, I really, you're gender sensitive. That is very good. It's very important. And we have a lot of respect for men who recognize that. Yes. Because those are your mothers, sisters, and daughters. But so gender equity for inclusion of everyone is an issue we may not gloss over, but take up if we have to have a positive impact that leads to sustainable growth of enterprises. I thank you. And you know what, before I thank you, even in your research, you should give it more highlight, because I saw where women actually are more productive than the men. Yeah. And the fact that you even have numbers to back up your statement is very important. So, and it was also researched later on, even in the UN reports that I read, I think 2029 on gender inclusion and diversity. They were saying that money that is given to women is actually more utilized in a family household, up to about 99%, than money given to a man to look after the same household. So that tells you that that lady is going to educate the child, is going to make sure the child is all right. So we are doing the foundations of enabling people, taking people out of poverty and giving them financial independence right from home. So this research is very key. And I'm hoping that you're going to give me a report. You're going to share this report.
We are going to have a good partnership with the ministry.
Wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for having me, for God and my country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the PS, Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Mrs. Geraldine Sally Usulwa, for these very passionate words. I've been reading the comments online for the participants online, and somebody posted and said, I love this PS. She's very passionate about entrepreneurship. So I think people are listening in, including us in this room, and appreciating the fact that you have been there, and also you're now stepping into government and you're speaking like a person who has been on the ground. So we are greatly honored, and we are happy that the results of this research will be put into use. At this juncture, we will be taking a group photograph before the PS leaves, but also right after that, we are going to have tea or coffee. And then those online, please don't leave. We'll take the coffee on your behalf. And then we will be able to give you an opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll respond. Please don't leave. Just make a coffee wherever you are, and then we'll enjoy the one here. For me, three things as we go for the group picture the PS has pointed on, and I would like to recognize the entrepreneurs in this room. Please stand up for recognition. All the Yes, let me give them an opportunity to introduce. They are members of the Uganda Social Entrepreneurship Forum, and Mr. Bernard Kaikera is a committee member on that forum, and Ms. Serena Naruoga runs. You will be able to speak for yourself. The PS has given you an opportunity. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm called Bernard Kaikera. I'm the founder and executive director of Focus Youth Forum. This is a social enterprise that empowers young people to start up. Me personally, I'm a coffee farmer. I have 7 acres of coffee in Wabaya. So I intend also to do value addition. And the main intention of Focus Youth Forum is to give as an example as you are talking, yes, because you cannot change someone's mind when you are not yet changed. So we believe that youth have potential to do something if they are given a chance. So Focus Youth Forum, it will work with you a journey of starting, because now we are looking at the area of value addition as a state. We also have more entrepreneurs that we have molded, and right now they are out there also making their life better. Thank you so much. I'm also a member of SAFE, Social Enterprise Forum, and Madam Dr. Joyce Tamale, she has been there for us, and now we are part of the social entrepreneurs in Uganda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Serena Naruoga Kasile. Dr. Joyce, I'm very grateful for the invite, and Professor Peter here. I last met Mrs. Geraldine Sally on a face-to-face before, actually like 1 month before she left NSSF. And we had a plan to meet, but unfortunately, she left and I sent messages and they weren't delivered. So we have that, we have something to finish. Yes, I do run Trillion Looks Store. It's a fashion and art social enterprise that helps women and youth creatives to market their products globally. What we do art and fashion products. What you see me doing, I love the fact that Mrs. Sani said, love the Ugandan product. I'd like to tell you people, love the Ugandan art product. We do fashion and art products. The reason as why I came dressed like this, even though it is an effective meeting, is to show you that we can wear what we make everywhere, and also to introduce to you our craft shoes. These shoes are made locally by Ugandan youth in Nakula, Nevea. So we mobilize the youth and women to make these products and we sell them. So support us. We run an online store called Trillion Looks Store, www.trillionlooks.store. Go there, buy these products. Trust us to deliver. If you don't want to purchase online, trust us by calling us to deliver your product. When we deliver the product, you will trust us some more. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Wow, thank you so much, Serena. And with that, we recognize that research is critical, as the PS has mentioned. And I'm very happy that there's going to be a collaboration with Makerere University, COBAMS specifically. So Professor Peter, you have responsibility to follow up with the PS and the commissioner so that more research can be conducted. That will be helpful. And then also I would like to recognize that you've encouraged capacity building. Apparently all the businesses, those my colleagues would have closed if Capital Solutions didn't stand with them to go through an accelerator program that really pushed them to do their business professionally. So honestly speaking, we need a lot of work and pushing. We recognize the policies that we need to learn from. We don't know these policies. I'm actually learning some of them from here. And there's a lot. So Commissioner, PS, and all the officers in the Ministry of Trade, there's a lot of information we need as entrepreneurs so that we can push this country to a level where we can be able to benchmark ourselves to India. I've just been honored to learn that 90% of India GDP is contributed to by 54% of the SMEs. That is huge. How I wish it can be here in this country. Honestly, I think we can make it. We have the energy, we have many young people. You know, the sky is not the limit. We shall do our best. So with that, I would like to thank you all for being in this first session. We are going for a group picture. Where do we go? So we are going to stand here for the group picture so that we can be able to take a group picture, and then thereafter we'll take our coffee and come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. You can carry it over the chair.
Outside will have been better.
Carol, interviews. Since they are going to take tea. Yes,
Getting used to new faces.
You need one with the piece.
Okay.
So that with the interview. Let's go.
The tea is ready. Feel free to take a cup.
I present. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how social entrepreneurship is a catalyst towards social development and the actual business.
They need some Uganda, they are making her speak on the English. Let me.
Cosine 1, cosine 2, beta, alpha. Tamanyi kukola ssente tasobola kusimira ekisowaani naye ekintu kino tekikoze okulaba nti abantu basobola nabo ate ne curriculum ezo ne bazireeta mu university era twandibadde twakitandikana omusavayo kubanga basoma curriculum naye neziba nga bazituusiza okuba nga zibasanyusa okwekolera okulekolera emirimu egyabwe ate nga sente nga beesalirawo sente ezibayamba okwekola ensonga y'ensenyi bannaye ensonga eyo omwanya bandibadde okuwandikisaako lweki tetwandibadde tubona okwandibanga ekitale kimu kyekitangalo ekyensenyi twandibanga yes ensenyi ezo twali tezimusangisaako omuntu osobola okukola ka slice kalumonde n'okaleeta ne muwogo omwokye nkakale kasooli roasted maize mmere yaffe nebeera nga yaffe self love ate kati awo bw'omutta nota business idea yo abantu abalala nga kuno obeera obamazemu abala nsobola sukaali markets zetanzaniza kubanga abantu omuntu akugamba nti nze maze emyaka kasookedde naafuna ate nga twabagamba nti olina ojja kuba osobola okwetabulira naye omuntu n'aza makere tasobola kufuna mulimu neyetabulira n'atuula n'adaaga so nga tasobola okufuna nagamba mumazi kale nintune ensenyi neseera ebipaka ekimu ate sigenda kutunza bannayuganda bokka nja kutunza nekeya airline omuntu n'abeera nga musangidde mu bwongo okusobola okuba nga basobola nze baali bankozesa naye nafuna kapito nange nkyasobola okukola naye nkomyewo okuyamba kubanga bw'obeera civil servant buli omu akimanyi bulungi nti esente tekifuna teziba zingi naye okomawo okuyamba eggwanga kubanga wamenyitonda mbadde nali muwatunga very hard emyaka nga naye mwedde emyaka nafuna kapito era bukyakola era mufuna ssente ate nenyongerera kusimaza naye ate nga ndaba
Thank you. I think we need to. Where? Here.
Actually, it would be nice to have this.
And imagine your life must be like a roller coaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, she wants to join.
That is something that
I'm here, an entrepreneur.
Serena. Thank you so much for coming. Nice to hear it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
She has moved.
We've missed you wanted, but we can take here now. Angel, with our social entrepreneurs. No, we are still around. I just want to take for the minute and we'll take another. Are you part of this? Are you part of this? You're part of it, but you're very part. Okay.
Are we fine?
Why are you looking?
No, because you were absent-minded.
Without the mask. But why don't we sandwich? You can. Thank you.
The research team, when are we doing ours? After the session?
So Eva, nimeeleza nini?
We are running late, that's my worry.
Continue after.
We need to reconvene us because the online people will leave us.
Again, finally, our young people should get this concept right away from primary. By the time you already have that concept in your mind. That the person probably the same but again, this were survived compared to
Welcome.
Of course, now dissemination or the media is spreading the gospel. And then you know, right now,
Thank you. I would like to welcome you back. Please come back and take your seats. Take your seats and we can proceed and be able to wrap up this discussion in the next 30 minutes. As you gather, I will be reading the comments on the chat box. Thank you so much those still online who have been patient to be able to close this session with us. Somebody called God Care has said that it's a fantastic research done and very well elaborated recommendations. Thank you, Professor, and the research team. I know what it means to collect data, process, and to produce such a well-written report. For Dr. Joyce, Social Entrepreneurs team, well done for organizing such a dissemination workshop. And then a number of people are thanking the PS for being passionate and also hoping that she can use her position to get capital and create business for the young people. There's somebody called Mwangu's Joshua. He's given his ID number and he's also online. So basically those are the comments online, and we are now proceeding. If you look at the program, we are now supposed to have Q&A. Any comments, any issues that really has gone through your mind as the professor was presenting, as the PS was talking, and also as the first professor, Hisali, was talking. Any comment, any issues, please raise your hand. And if you're online, please put in the chat box or raise your hand so we can be able to pick you and you contribute. Anybody? I'll give an opportunity to 3 people only, and then we will move to the next. Okay, I see one hand. I don't know who is moving the mic. The second one. Please introduce your name, what you do, and then the question or the comment. It's also an opportunity to know who you are.
So thank you so much. I would like to commend the team and the program that is a doctor and a professor. So good luck then. So quickly,
Your name,
my
please.
name is Alan Goulet. I'm the data manager at the Material Innovation and Research Center. Funded by the Ministry of Finance, together with the University. Yeah, so a quick one. I really like the research, but I'm just curious to understand and know what is the plan for digital inclusion for social innovation? Because even as among us as an incubator, right now we are taken up by the consortium, which is called Startup Uganda for all accelerators and creators in Uganda. And what one of the talks right now is that digital inclusion has a huge role to play towards the SMEs growth. So mainly for social entrepreneurship, I feel like there is still that gap of information which can be filled in by, of course, the digital inclusion, as well as social innovators as we get part of that. And 2, I just also want to find out the methodologies and approaches of social capital funding. As of now, grants have been the best across all sectors when it comes to innovation, but then we want to know which capacity and other methodologies are there to really help entrepreneurs pull together capital and grant fund, because grant funding also comes at benefits of sponsors. I'm really glad to find out exactly what the research is supposed to restart in that area as other forms of funding. I will go ahead and thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question or issue.
Thank you. And thank you, Phil, for the good presentation. Well, I came in midway. Oh, my name, I'm Eric Nziwanera. I'm a lecturer here, the Department of Accounting and Finance. At the same time, I'm the head of the department. I came in and found when you were presenting, we are looking at social entrepreneurship and how it is the catalyst to sustainable growth, which is there. But I request the team to again clarify on methodology. We didn't get it well, discussing, but I thought when you are presenting, you sample the students. I don't know, I need to know whether it is the students, and if you sample the students, maybe what informed that the students part of SMEs, do they have already been SMEs? Part of the practitioners in the small enterprises? Because my thinking would be that we now go to those who are really practicing but just for clarity.
Thank you very much. That's very well appreciated. So we'll give also one person here a comment, then we'll ask Professor to respond. Oh, there.
Right.
Online is saying they're not hearing the contributions. I don't know what we can do. Our IT person to ensure that whoever speaks can be heard online.
Thank you so much. My name is Faisal Karewa. I'm a finalist of nations last week at one. And I was pursuing a bachelor's degree in administration. And yeah, I don't have very many questions. But sorry, Professor, if I may interrupt. But Dr. Eric is going to name myself as one of the people participating in that very research. I took part in disseminating those questionnaires and everything. And to assure you is that some of the students who participated in the other expo, they have continued and taken part in making sure that those business ideas they are pursuing in the expo, they have gone deep to go and to make sure that they actually pursue those ideas. Some of them have taken a step to continue as a team. And then on the part of my question is
they can't get everything.
Professor,
They can only get
there is a
information.
question of where you were asking if social entrepreneurship can be introduced as a course or if it can be a course unit. I don't know if there are steps that have been taken because we have been talking about building capacity. This can be only and unreversible through training, and of which the training can be taking place here at Cobalt and maybe within other institutions that can embrace social entrepreneurship. So I would seek clarification from whether you have taken steps on making sure that if this can be introduced as a course or a course unit, it can be a better deal for the students, you know, because they are going to the answers from here and spread the information that social entrepreneurship is actually a deal. And then, of course, I know we have been having a press here, and the press will release the information, of course, that we are taking this initiative. Would you please also help us to make sure that we shall disseminate this information to the people outside there, that the deal is actually in the source of information about this, because all the objectives and all the findings and all the recommendations, they are very clearly stated, but people need to know what can they do. So the information sources are very important. Finally, one of the scholars was called Calisto, and they said that there is nothing that is so detrimental than leaving things, you know, something is wrong, and you can't actually do something about it. It is so detrimental, but rather you have to take a step and solve those very issues. And so I want to thank you so much, Professor and your team, Mr. Carson and Madam Arif, and everyone who took part in this and coming up with this idea. Thank you so much. I encourage everyone here to strive hard and make sure that we fight hard and make sure that this challenge that are in this social community of ours and be addressed by embracing social entrepreneurship as a catalyst to sustainable business growth in Uganda. And this can reinforce Africa at large. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be given this opportunity to participate in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing. Would like to give one final to Ms. Oriem, so then we can come back for response.
Responded to the strategies for social enterprise.
We spoke about the role of policy lab. For issues of collaboration and continuous practice, can you please elaborate on that? They are very practical.
Thank you very much. Those issues are well noted, so I'll ask Professor to come and, you know, describe those.
Thank you very much again for your comments, questions, and interactions. I will answer some of the questions and others will be answered by members of my team so that we show kind of teamwork. I will start with the question 1 by Alan from Makerere University Innovation and Incubation Center, whether we thought of integrating IT in this study. Of course, your organization was part of this research, especially through focus group discussions. And we did not have a particular objective that would incorporate IT. But now that we have these findings, and since you have been part of us, we look forward to working with you and see how we can incorporate ICT as we promote social entrepreneurship agenda. And we shall always be available to work with you. There was a question on why can't we now incorporate this into entrepreneurship curriculum. This was from Python. And of course, part of our recommendations is that this social entrepreneurship curriculum should start right away from primary up to higher institutions of learning, including university. However, for us, since we already have a course on entrepreneurship here in Cobams, and particularly in the School of Business and in my department, we can straight away start it as a course unit, but eventually we would want to look at it as being possibly an independent program, possibly as an independent program. And with this backup of our findings, I think in the future, we shall have to incorporate it in our program. I will also respond to a question on policy labs. This was communicated by the principal of the college, and I will not be competent to really to talk about it, but I will pass on the message to see how this can further promote our collaboration. Because we have already agreed that my team, my department, my college is going to partner with the Ministry of Trade. Even I confirmed this with the BS as we are having personal chat, and therefore this agenda will also be incorporated into our partnership. I will give the microphone to Kasim to answer one question, and I think Tamara will answer another one on as they were asked. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. I'm Sendaula Kasim, one of the project team member. And Dr. Eric, you've asked something that is to do with the research methodology. In this study, we considered university students. You've pointed out that clearly. And for you, you thought that maybe it is better to focus on the practicing entrepreneurs. Yeah. So in this study, we engaged the students who participated in the 4th Annual Entrepreneurship Expo. Now, these are nascent entrepreneurs, and in our understanding of the nascent entrepreneurs, we are looking at those entrepreneurs or those people who are just starting their businesses, who are just starting their entrepreneurial journey. So given that they have businesses that they showcased during the 4th Annual Entrepreneurship Expo, it was very important for us to engage them to understand why they started those businesses. Do they have a social mission, or they are mainly focusing on the profit point of view? So we engaged them. But at the same time, to make sure that we get a clear understanding of social entrepreneurship, we also engaged the practicing social entrepreneurs under Capital Solutions. And to validate our findings, we engaged the key informants. And the key informants here, we have entrepreneurship facilitators. These are people who are teaching entrepreneurship at the university level. And we also engage the 3 heads of incubation centers within Makerere, because these ones are very active in training young entrepreneurs to understand how they should start and operate their businesses successfully. So we engaged them. And of course, we picked on some few social entrepreneurs to come in and share their views qualitatively. So that is how, those are the reasons as to why we had to engage those different parties in this study. Thank you.
The issue is the methodology for how are they funding the operation
Oh,
instead of the payment, maybe from external support.
okay, thank you so much. There was a question about the methodology for funding social enterprises. And I think this question was part of the research. And apparently, Capital Solutions' mission is to improve access to finance for social entrepreneurs. And that is what we do every day. So there are 4 methods that social entrepreneurs use to fund their services. Grants is one of them, but we don't want to go the grants way, because if you're a social enterprise and you go the grants way, you become an NGO that will keep begging. So what we do is that we train them to deliver products and services. We give them marketing skills to be able to sell, using a total market approach, because social entrepreneurs use total market approach. The public sector, the private sector, and the pure, those who can pay the full price. Then the third is that we started a social investment fund. Capital Solutions runs a social investment fund. Now the social investment fund funds social entrepreneurs, and we map them, though the fund is still small to fund all of them, but that is the best way because it gives patient capital, unlike commercial banks. So that's another way that they use. The fourth is largely through innovations. We're encouraging them to use a lot of digital. We've noted most of them, and I think we need to have more conversations. Most of them are running digital platforms. I don't know, those things like Serena, selling products online. So those are all methods of increasing money coming in and run your social enterprise. Government is another area we are looking at, and I'm glad to see Minister of Trade here. If there's a fund where social entrepreneurs specifically can be considered at lower rates than the normal commercial rates, because their businesses address, the social, environmental, and so on. So those are areas that social entrepreneurs tap in businesses. It's really lucrative. And apparently, as I said earlier, 80% of social enterprises didn't close after COVID. So that is how beautiful it is to run a social enterprise. Thank you. Hope I've addressed your comment. Right. So I would like to say that if there are no other comments, if there are no other questions, allow me again to thank the commissioner from the Ministry of Trade and Industries for coming and being with us up to now. We don't take you for granted, but we also take you that you are here to serve us and scale what the social enterprises are building, as started from the COBAMs. We thank also the senior principal officer from the Ministry of Trade for your being here, because we know you're practitioners, and we hope you can read the report the professor will send you, pick the findings, and see how does this sit into the SME structure to make sure that we push such businesses to the next level. I think for me, that is very, very essential. And for all the participants, social entrepreneurs, the researchers ourselves, we have a lot of work to do. The policymakers, so much work to do, I can't even imagine it. I keep telling people that social entrepreneurship in the UK is the way to go. During COVID, government of UK gave the social entrepreneurship sector 50 million pounds, and just for social enterprises, and they have turned around the economy in the UK. So maybe it's time here, if Makerere can train the young people, if Makerere can do more research on social entrepreneurship, I think the future is bright for sustainable business growth. At this juncture, I would like to invite Dr. John Mutenyo, the representative of Grants Management Committee, Makerere University, Research and Innovations, whom we thank so dearly on behalf of the research team for supporting this research, because without your support, maybe it wouldn't have happened. So, sir, you're most welcome to give us your remarks.
Thank you very much, madam. I will try and observe protocol, though some members have. The principal, the college in absence, the PS, Minister of Trade, the Dean School of Business, Commissioner, Mr. Michael Wamibu, my colleague Harriet Adong from Makerere Reef, GMC, the PI, Professor Peter Yakira, colleagues from Minister of Trade, colleagues from the School of Business, and from College of Cobams, members around and others online. I would like to thank you very much for sparing some time and listen to this presentation. First, I would like to congratulate my friend Peter and your team for preparing a winning proposal. If you're not very mean, much for that. It's not easy always whenever there is competition to win. As a member of GMC, also what my name is John Mutenyo, but I would like to inform you that I'm not speaking as John Mutenyo, but I'm speaking on behalf of Professor William Bazeo, the chairperson of Makerere Grants Management Committee. He's unable to be with us this morning, but I'm happy that he actually requested me to represent the GMC, for which I'm a member. That's Grants Management Committee. I was saying that I would like to congratulate Peter, reason being, whenever we post a call external reviewers and also local reviewers, not by us GMC, but they're reviewed by external reviewers and local reviewers. In most cases, we use 2 external and 1 local reviewer. So it's really a process, and if one wins a grant, surely it deserves congratulations. Because we really get very good proposals. When they're awarded, you see people are getting 80%, 70%, so forth. But the resources are never enough to fund all this. I would like to thank the government of Uganda. For the past 3 years, government has been investing in research at Makerere University, and soon it's going to go beyond Makerere University. In RIF 1, we received 30 billion. RIF 2 also received 30 billion, and RIF 3, which is now ongoing. So far, we have received 15 billion, and of course, we appreciate given the circumstances in the country and globally. But government has promised to add more money for research. So really thank Makerere government for this. In economics, when I'm teaching growth theories, I teach economics at Makerere. We have a topic called endogenous growth theories. In this topic, we actually express the need for research. When you are modeling growth, we have that component of research. It's a research theory. I mean, it's a model. And we find that research is key in economic growth of a nation. And for that matter, the developed world, Japan, US, and China, the UK, all those developed countries invest heavily in research. Very good proportion of their GDP in research. Even the companies, these powerful companies, global companies, they invest in research. So research is key in the growth of any economy. That matter we thank government. For the very first time, I think in the history of Uganda, government is putting money in research. So far, we have disbursed funds to over 700 awards. And these, of course, account for over 70 billion Uganda shillings, 700 plus in different categories. But of course, I cannot forget to thank the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University and the Council of Makerere, and of course, Professor William Bazeo, because all these monies we're talking about as a result of their effort. Professor Bazeo, Vice Chancellor, and the Council, as a result of their effort, engaging government, informing them how relevant and how good we need these studies. So you can't forget to thank these people. About the team composition, again, I would like to thank Peter, how you composed your team. This is the kind of composition we need in the GMC. We have a senior person, we have gender sensitive composition, and we have capacity building. I heard my colleague is doing PhD. So that's the capacity building. So you have two seniors and you have what gender, and you're also putting in 2% capacity. We need capacity building. Peter, you are leaving, you and I are leaving Makerere very soon. Now, who are we leaving behind? We need to train these guys. So when you're forming a team, always put into consideration capacity building. But of course, again, most important, stakeholders. Very many studies have been undertaken, but very good studies, and end up in shelves. Reason being, you are not involving the stakeholders at any stage. So I would like to thank you for inviting colleagues from Ministry of Trade. But I forgot to tell that Mike Wamibi was my student. I've done my part. He was my student. Your dean of business was my student. The principal, Kobam, all those are my former students. So if I say I'm retiring the next few years, I think I've done my work. I've done my job. So capacity building. So I've built capacity. I can always leave Makerere and go and work and look after my votes. Okay. So we need to involve stakeholders when you are writing the proposal and also doing any research study. The reason being, after all these policy recommendations you have given us, you are just a researcher. I'm just a researcher. How are these policies going to be taken up? It's by the stakeholders. So when you're writing proposals to GMC, we need to involve what? Stakeholders at all stages, dissemination, and even undertaking the study. I mean, it will be very easy for the commissioner to accept these results because he has been part of the study. It will be very easy for the PS to accept these results because members from her office have been part of what? Of this study. So we always encourage members to write proposals and include stakeholders so that this can always be accepted. Then also let's talk about the relevance of your study. When I was listening to the presentation, I realized we are now moving away from the traditional problems under SMEs. Most of the studies are talking about barriers and constraints, and they're talking about financial. Those are issues they've always been talking about regarding SMEs. Growth of SMEs always emphasize issues of what? Taxes are so high, there are no resources, there are no finance. But now, this study, interestingly, I mean, it's quite interesting because it's moving away from the traditional studies, okay? And now talking about something which is still new in people's world, okay, understanding. So again, I want to congratulate you, Peter, and your team. You're coming up with something new, which now informs policy outside the traditional things of what? Of government taxes are high and so forth and so forth. Okay. Then also about the study, when we are writing research proposals for such an innovation and also GMC, we must put in mind that these are government resources. I would like to use is a phrase that Professor Vazio always is telling us, that there could be a very beautiful study. For instance, why do frogs and toads, I don't know English word, when they are flying, when it rains. You get that? It's a very good study. Because whenever it rains in the evening, okay, frogs and toads begin what? Making noise. Now, why do frogs and toads make noise? It can be a very wonderful study, but the question is, how relevant is it? How relevant is such a study? So when you are writing proposals, look at the funder. What does the funder want? Now, this case is the government of Uganda. Look at the key issues that government wants us to research on. The issues are just everywhere. Sustainable development goals. Then there are also these other issues, Peter, which whatever is that? No, I mean areas of interest by government. Okay, we need to understand these areas of interest because this is government resources. Accordingly, we must target what? Those issues which are of concern to government. Okay, so again, we find that these are some of the areas. Unemployment, this is the key, this is the fundamental to the growth of the economy. So we must always look around there, other than writing a very beautiful proposal, but not relevant to economic growth or to the growth of what? Of the sector or the economy. Okay. Once again, I would like to thank Peter for the recommendations, and hopefully all these are drawn from your study because they look very beautiful. I've not read the report to see whether, because in academic, in research, you always need to focus on our research findings. Okay, because I saw there are a number of recommendations, and I hope that all these are coming from what? From your study. As EMC, we always need to update our website. So we shall request you to send us I saw your summary somewhere. please send us so that we can update our website for other people who have not attended this dissemination and who would like to know more about your study. Once again, I want to thank you very much, Peter, and also thank our colleagues who have shown up this morning, and also all those who are online for their time to listen to your presentation. Thank you very much, as we build for the future.
Another round of applause for Dr. Jane Mpenyu. Dr. Mpenyu for the remarks, and we thank you for delivering on behalf of Professor Bazeyo the message from the fund. We greatly appreciate that. And also, I would like to thank you again on behalf of all the participants online and here for your capacity building. We can see your outputs from the people you mentored, and we need many more of those. And I can also attest for Professor Turiakira. He's a very good mentor. He's worked with this team for a whole year through COVID, and nobody fell off. So we thank you so much for leading. At this juncture, we are going to have closing remarks. Closing remarks are supposed to be given by the Dean, School of Business, and that is Associate Professor Godfrey Akileng. Sir, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Maybe I will start by introducing myself. I'm not Associate Professor Godfrey Akileng. Associate Professor Godfrey Akileng is the Dean School of Business. He's one supposed to give closing remarks, but he got another engagement where they are launching another project where one of the members of our school, one member of our school of business is in that project. So he requested me to represent him on a short notice though. I'm called Eric Nziwanera. I head the Department of Accounting and Finance. And the team, where you can see Harriet. Our principal investigator today, Dr. Peter Tujiachara, and your research team, and the members present, both online and physically. It is really our pleasure. It is our pleasure as a school to see that you did this research, which is really enterprising. And therefore, we congratulate you, Principal Investigator, for the team, for the good work well done. You see, in academia, they normally tell us that it is not about teaching. It is also about research and community engagement. And as a school, we are doing this, definitely with support from government and the Research Grants Management Committee and the University Management. So we thank the team very, very much. for the job well done. You see, it's one thing to get money, some funding to do work, and it is also another thing to produce output. And therefore, as a school, we are happy that the team has managed to do both. So thank you so much for the work well done. As a school, this is really a topical issue. And you see, as the PS was actually talking, this is touching. When they mentioned how many entrepreneurs are here, we only had 2 people. And yet we emphasize entrepreneurship, job creation. And these research findings are really vital because they are addressing issues of job creation. They are addressing issues of sustainable growth of SMEs, and that's the way to go. Because they will not tell you there is no country that can grow without small and medium enterprise. So thank you so much for getting this topical issue and addressing it. As a school, we are also happy that the team from government led by the PS have embraced these policy findings and have pledged the support to partner with the school and the team to ensure that these findings are actually implemented. And that's what we should look at, actually. That's where the focus should be. Just like my teacher, he might have forgotten, but he taught me economics. My teacher, Dr. Mutenya, has mentioned, let's not have these findings just kept. Let them be implemented, and the good thing, we have government on our side, and we hope they will be implemented, especially 2 things. I noted out the issue of capacity development for social entrepreneurs, and that's very important if we are talking about job creation. And the 2 curriculum reviews, as the principal investigators mentioned, we teach entrepreneurship, but he mentioned it is taught in a school of what? Of business. So this one should really go down to the lower levels of education, right from primary up. And I hope maybe Minister of Education will be given these findings and it could find a way of revising its curriculum to consider social entrepreneurship. Finally, the Dean will continue to provide leadership and to ensure that maybe staff engage, to ensure that the staff have time to engage in these activities. Because as a university, we cannot survive only through teaching. These community and stakeholder engagements are very important as we celebrate 100 years of existence of Makerere University. So as a Dean, that will be done. So with those few remarks, maybe members from representatives from Grants Management Committee of Research and Innovations Fund, we hope that maybe when these projects continue to come, you will provide the support, and possibly we can even provide more, you can provide more support in dissemination, not only in this boardroom and also newspapers. You can also arrange dissemination sessions with the public outside there. So I hope maybe this one can be facilitated. Thank you so much. I wish everybody well, and I wish the team very well as they continue with the process of finalizing the report. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eric, for representing the Dean School of Business. We appreciate your remarks and your emphasis on the issues that have stood out in the recommendations. So at this juncture, I know we didn't get to know each other, but I would like to inform you that we have lunch. Those online, lunch is here at Makerere, so we'll enjoy it. Please don't leave before the lunch. So just be patient. We're also going to get a few remarks from the Commissioner, Ministry of Trade and Industries. We want to hear him because he's the implementing person. The PS is administrative. We have the Commissioner who is the implementer. And so the 5 recommendations that came out, we want to see them in action. And I concur with Dr. Eric that the Innovation Fund needs to support more dissemination. We have over 500 social entrepreneurs out there. They've not been privileged to get this information, yet they are the practitioners. So if there's an opportunity to share this in another forum where we can convene social entrepreneurs, because we are the ones to pick up this and implement, we will be glad to have that opportunity. Please consider, it won't be too much. We'll do a hybrid, but we want Professor to share that information with them. This type, I will say your words here, but I'll start from the left. One thing that stood out for you today, or something you've taken out for yourself today. We'll just do that quickly, and then we will have the Commissioner tell us a few words. I don't know whether, Angel, you can move with this and this. What stood out for you in today's dissemination workshop?
Once again, my name is Bryson Naeva. And what stood out, what came out very, I've just discovered that we just lack information on the potential ideas that we can use to conquer or to cut down these things within the social environment and come up with a social impact within the community that we stay in.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next.
The concept of social entrepreneurship.
Okay. Thank you so much. The concept of social entrepreneurship. Bernard? Oh, sorry. Madam?
My name is Bernard Kasher. The School of Business. My interest in dissemination is the issue of sustainability in small businesses, which is in my line of interest. It's good to come here.
This workshop is the fact that the government has, because we as a young generation, we're always there thinking that, first of all, we have moved different potential partners, and you find that you're looking at external NGOs or partners or government partners be the ones adopt your ideas. And then your government, the real government of yours, they are not taking up those ideas, and it would hurt. So when you see the government of Uganda coming up and embracing social entrepreneurship, it gives the morale to most of the young people out there also to come on board.
Thank you, Bernard. And government joining this journey is an exciting move for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Vincent Okema from the Ministry of Trade. I will join Professor Mtendo. I think that this has gone beyond conceptualization and it's actually being practiced. Part of it that we will have an organized cluster and a forum. As well know, government finds it easier to provide services to cluster organizations. So that stood out for me, and I will be grateful for this collaboration.
Thank you so much. Government is on board and also working with organized clusters.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael, Commissioner Business Development. What stood out for me is the issue of this. They want them working themselves and we work with others. And we as stakeholders don't go together as a team. I think people are not working together now, we come together. Researchers and government to implement the question community. I find that very interesting.
Thank you very much. This is really exciting to see that stakeholders are sitting on the same table to implement. Dr. Eric?
Thank you. What really came out from today and which I really hinged on a lot is the issue of social entrepreneurship. And more so in the findings where they indicated that under gender and the women can be more effective social entrepreneurs.
Agreed. Fantastic. Can you clap for that? Tables are turning now, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. To me, what has stood out is the ability to move the concept beyond the theory and we try to apply and coming up with initiatives, both initiatives that have been taken and or proposed to make sure that we reorient the entrepreneurial environment to take into account the social justice. I think that is very important. And this is all inclusive. So that is
Maybe your name and where you work.
my name. I am Dr. Baptist Mwanga. I work at the School of Business.
School of Economics.
Sorry, School of Economics.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mwanga. I think inclusive business has not been really strong here, and we are happy to have it now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Harriet Hazon, and I work for the Makerere University Research and Innovations and where I'm in charge of communication. So what has stood out for me in this engagement is the beauty that we can actually think of incorporating social entrepreneurship into the education curriculum, right from kindergarten or baby class. I was just looking at my 5 children being able to study social entrepreneurship right from the time they step in school, and how beautiful what we would have out there. But in the same vein, I was updating social media, Twitter, and Professor Bazer is out of the country, but he's been able to follow our engagement, and he's texting me on WhatsApp, and he's acknowledging the work you have done via researchers. And he says, let us continue to be a contribution to the communities that we engage and live in. Thank you so much. He's right here on WhatsApp, and that is the message he sent.
Sounds good. This is really an amazing win. Thank you. Next.
Yes, thank you so much. Alan, once again from the Makerere Innovation Development Center. Is my quick observation and key takeaway is the need for enterprise support organizations to uptake and also engage social entrepreneurship in their programming. Speaking from my perspective, where we are supporting, at least I'm seeing a key need for also social entrepreneurship as a means of encouraging the marginalized would-be entrepreneurs and business people who are being left out because of that type of programming. So I see that need as a partner, a player, to at least also incorporate programming with social entrepreneurship in most of our activities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Next. We have two more people. Oh, let's see if they are going to come.
Sorry, I came in late. I didn't attend listen to the presentation, but from the word go from the beginning, when I saw that title, me as a small entrepreneur, I saw the practicability of it, which was a little silent but very powerful. The social part of it, because it works miracles, it works wonders. So today I was here, I was impressed, and after I walked with Professor's office, because I need that, who explained to me to a layman's language. that I take it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. You should speak in a layman's language. Thank you. So Serena, you're the last one. You're the second last one. Then Angel.
Hello, my name is Serena, co-founder to the Next Stone. What basically stood out for me as a social entrepreneur is I've already looked for opportunities to export, and the fact that the PS was here and she talked about the different programs at Ministry of Trade, including access to credit through the circle, the rural industrialization program, and the parish development model. Those three things stood out for me, and I look forward to learning more about them.
Thank you very much. So I feel like there will be an education session with the social entrepreneurs through the ministry to enlighten people about what's going on in the government. Angel, anything that stood out for you?
I think the issue of collaboration and identifying opportunities for the social entrepreneurs is something that is really going to help them go to the next level, because you can't do it alone, but if you go together, you can go far.
Thank you very much.
In addition, I also feel proud of their products. If you have good products, just a matter of adding some value. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And today for me, what stood out is the passion that I saw in the room, the passion from the PS, the passion from all the speakers. As a person since 2017 that have been pushing social entrepreneurship, I will go to bed very happy because today has nailed it for me. And I'm extremely happy and proud of Makerere Cobhams through Professor Peter, who received us here innocently in 2019 when we talked about social entrepreneurship. Professor Peter, thank you so much. And to Professor, to Dr. Mutenyo for funding this, for believing in it and ensuring that we push social entrepreneurship. I have no doubt this country is going to turn around. I can attest social entrepreneurship changed Bangladesh. Bangladesh is what it is because of social entrepreneurship. So let's not think this is an assignment that is just seated here for research. If we can implement the recommendations, Mr. Commissioner, I can attest you will see a change in the MSME because of the social entrepreneurship model. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here. And at this juncture, I would like to invite the Commissioner to give us your final remarks. Thank you.
This one. Thank you, moderator. Maybe once again, I can introduce myself.
My name is Michael Wanivu. I'm a Commissioner for Business Development and Quality Assurance, the Directorate of MSME, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored and pleased to be part of this research findings. And I will not go to the details of the thanking and all that because my boss has already given a direction. So what I would just want to share with you is that one, as a Ministry of Trade and the Industry and the Cooperatives, we have a policy in place. And this policy is called MSME policy, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Policy. And when the PSC was elaborating the number of policies that are in place, a question was asked, have you ever heard of these policies? And what I got from the audience was that looks like this is their these are their policies, and this is we are also doing our own research this side. And it looks like the message which I have taken also from here is that as a government we have come up with a number of policies, but we are not disseminating these policies to people supposed to implement the recommendations. So that's one of the key message that I'm also taking from here. So I would just want to talk about 3 policies that we have in the ministry, and we want to build on them. The MSME policy. This policy came into place in 2015. It was approved by cabinet, and it has highlighted a number of constraints ranging from financial constraints, skills development constraints, issues of technology, issues of manpower and governance. But again, from today's research, we have also seen a new direction of social entrepreneurship. And I think Professor Mutenye talked about moving away from the traditional challenges we have. You know, you will be asked what are the challenges of MSME, and you just quickly mention them: taxes, manpower constraints, skills development, finances. But now when you bring in the social entrepreneurship, I think many of us, to be honest, had the challenges of contemplating what is social entrepreneurship. And many may have gone to research and find out until when during today's research finds, at least you have now been enlightened on the issues of social entrepreneurship. And I think it was quite good to reveal that when interest the gender, the women, the findings or the impact is quite great. I think that's quite a good finding. The policy of MSME has been in place since 25, is now almost 7 years, and it's going to be reviewed. And we are going to work with you to see how best to have this reviewed. We have a comparative policy, but I'm not going to the details. I think we have highlighted that if you are having a circle, you have these financials together, you can get more benefit from government because you will now be talking as a voice. So that policy is in place. It was even reviewed, amended last year, but you can see we have not done our part as government to disseminate this recommendation. The most interesting one under MSM is the issue of quality and standards, and we have also a policy on quality and standards. Now, we can talk about issues of MSMs, and one of the major issues we have under MSME are the issues of quality and standards. So when this policy came into place, a directorate was created within the Ministry of Trade, Industry and the Cooperatives. And the directorate is supposed to build the capacity. And this capacity issue is one of the issues that was also highlighted by the principal researcher. But most importantly, among the capacity building, we are supposed to provide business development services to MSMEs so that their products can be of good quality, they can be certified by UNBSC, so that you can eventually promote or export these products to other markets. The markets are there. You heard from the PSC this morning. They have been negotiated under East African Customs Union. We have we have the protocol in place. We have a COMESA in place. We have African Free Continental Trade Area. So I think what is now remaining is to build on the issue of capacity building for MSMEs to help them so that we can increase the ratios from the current contribution to at least like that of India. We need to benchmark what have they done best. Now, as a way forward, I would like us to go beyond the policy recommendation, leaving them on the shelves. And I want to encourage that we need to come now, develop or prepare an implementation plan now between the Makerere University and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. That will be sort of spearheaded by our PSC, because under the policy recommendation, I've seen three main ministries coming into play. We have recommendations that impinge on Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. We have recommendations that require Ministry of Education and Sports. And also we have these recommendations under Ministry of Trade. But of course, this, if we bring into play these three key ministries, we shall also bring on board other stakeholders like gender, issue of gender. So I think in my concluding remarks, I would say that let's now move beyond the putting the recommendations under the shelves, but now move to the next level, engage the stakeholders, government, and work with the private sector to implement this recommendation. After 3 or so years, then we should be in position to evaluate our research findings. Say, these were the recommendations. So far, this has been implemented. And I think by so doing, we shall have positive results on our MSMEs. I want to thank you very much. And also thank you for giving us an opportunity to be part of this research dissemination meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wamibu, for the very, very warm remarks, for the affirmation of how government is planning to implement beyond policy, which we're excited and looking forward to as the team that did this research from Makerere and also from the private sector mindset. So we're excited, and I know for sure we are going to follow up on this and see implementation happening. Again, I thank you so much for your patience, for being here today. For all the key takeaways that we've picked, we believe that with action, somebody already said that spend 10% of your time planning, 90% taking action. That's what is going to change this country. This is what is going to change the continent, because planning can take 90% of people's time and they only spend 10% implementing. That really is a killer. So we should be implementers, and planning now has ended. Let's just move into action. I thank you once again, and I would like to ask somebody to give us a closing prayer, then we can go for lunch. You're willing to give that?
Thank you. I wanted volunteer to give the closing prayer because I wanted us to thank Dr. Tamale. Usually MCs are not thanked. Yeah, so can we please clap for her? Yeah, in my other life as a communicator, I usually MC events, and it's not very easy, but you've done 180%. Thank you so much, and a lot to learn from you. Let's humble ourselves for a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the protection. We thank you for remaining amidst us this morning and all the times and the years we have spent in this world. Father, we pray that you continue protecting us, especially against COVID-19, but also other communicable and non-communicable diseases. I pray, God, that you meet each one of us in this room at our different point of need. Even now as we part, I pray that you move with us, you guide our footsteps, you continue giving us the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding to do all that we are supposed to do. We pray, Father, for resources for us to continue transforming our communities and our societies in one way or the other. We thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for all our partners. We thank you for our researchers, our students, and everybody else in this room. We also want to pray for the meal that we are about to partake, that Father, you bless it, that we might eat it, and it nourishes our bodies for the greater glory of your name. I pray all this with thanksgiving, believing in Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you.
So it's time to network. If you hadn't said hello to each other, please, this is the moment as we get lunch here. Those of us who have been online would like to thank you very much on behalf of everybody at Makerere University and on behalf of Professor Peter. Thank you for your time for attending, and we are closing the meeting now.